What's up, guys? This is
The Brothas! The Brothas!
Yep.
and today you got Jack,
And David.
and we just recently went out and saw the new Detective Pikachu movie.
Yeah,
Had
it was
a
awesome.
great time.
Yeah,
It was
everyone
a lot
should
of
see
fun.
it. Everyone should see it.
Lot
it
of
needs
fun.
to make money.
Oh yeah, good stuff. And I think our biggest takeaway is just being stoked on the potential of more movies like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I definitely want more.
Yeah, so today we're just going to take a few minutes to kind of discuss and kick around a couple of our ideas of what we think would make a really good next movie in this kind of Pokemon cinematic universe, if you want to call it that. And so the first one that we want to talk about, I think definitely the biggest, most obvious one coming off of what happens in Detective Pikachu is the origin story for Mewtwo. Yeah?
For sure, yeah. I think that would make a lot of sense. I would certainly love to see it.
Yeah, and if you remember in the Detective Pikachu movie, when spoilers if you haven't seen it, Mewtwo is in the movie.
Yeah, I think it was in the trailer.
May have been, yeah.
Yeah.
But they allude to the fact that he was a successfully cloned Pokemon in the past. But they mention that he escaped from the Kanto region 20 years prior to the events of the movie, and that's all they say. They don't actually tell you who was the one who originally cloned him and where he escaped from and where he's been in the time in between. So I feel like out of anything that happened in Detective Pikachu, that was kind of setting up for potentially another plot thread that they could pull.
Yeah.
Also, it would just be really cool.
That would be really. We all kind of know the story. Like anyone. Okay, I'm gonna throw this out there. This might not be true, but I'm just assuming that anybody born right around the year, in between the years 1991 and 1996, has seen Mewtwo Strikes Back and knows this story. So, admitting that kind of makes it seem like the movie's not a necessity, but
I feel like they could take it into such a new direction with what Detective Pikachu is and how different it is than literally anything Pokemon related we've ever seen.
Yeah.
I feel like they could, and Mewtwo was the coolest part of that movie.
Mewtwo was awesome.
It looked so cool.
It was. Yeah.
So I think that is probably, if I were to pick what the next Pokemon movie would be, I would probably go with that just because it's so cool. I think it would be such a crowd pleaser.
Yeah.
And yeah, it would be awesome. That kind of segues into another one that could be very similar in some ways.
Maybe even the same movie.
Yeah, maybe even the same movie. Is a movie about Team Rocket, or maybe more specifically one that focuses on Giovanni as the main character.
I want that.
Yeah, potentially that could be a backstory to Team Rocket in the Kanto region that leads up to Mewtwo's escape and kind of sets up, maybe could be described as a prequel to Detective Pikachu. Not really, but more of the, Giovanni building up his Pokemon Mafia with Team Rocket and leading to the creation of Mewtwo to do his bidding and stuff like that. And I think that would fit really well with that gritty, dark tone that they tried to create with Detective Pikachu.
Yeah. I'm just just the very idea of you said it. Detective Pikachu is so far afield from what we're used to from Pokemon media. Just the notion of the movies going that far, and the idea that we might get a movie where Giovanni is the main character, it psychs me out of my mind. It's probably never gonna happen. It would be so awesome.
Get your Ryan Reynolds tier actor to play Giovanni. It would be beautiful.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it was our cousin who said that Liam Neeson would be a good I'm telling you, man.
No
Liam
way.
Neeson.
He's too old.
As Giovanni. Okay, you know how Hollywood works.
You're right. They can make him young again.
Okay, fine. Robert Downey Jr. as Giovanni.
Okay, so kind of the flip side of that, what I have for the third option, that's also very similar, is just a retelling of that original story from Red and Blue, and that's something that I've already heard kicked around a lot, and I think. There's even a comment out there from one of the Detective Pikachu producers saying that there's interest in retelling the story of the original Red and Blue in a future Pokemon movie in this kind of vein. And I don't know, I think I mean, I can kind of tell from your reaction that's kind of the blandest option on the table.
Yeah,
But it could be cool.
It could be. It could potentially be somewhat interesting. But I wanna throw something out for you here. Do you remember Pokemon Origins?
Oh yeah.
What was the most disappointing thing about Pokemon Origins?
It was very short.
It was painfully short. I mean, it doesn't help that it was painfully short, and they spent a lot of the limited time they had on what?
On Cubo.
Cubo, yeah, exactly.
Very strange decision.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And see, that's the thing we got to be worried about with the Red and Blue movie. Like, there's more there than you might think.
Yeah, but what something like that shows you is that compared to the other Pokemon games, especially like Gen 3 and on, there's just not much in the way of story.
That's true. Yeah.
But you think there's enough there, and enough that's super iconic.
Yeah.
That they could potentially make something really, really cool out of that.
Alternatively, they follow the plotline of Pokemon Adventures.
That would be pretty sick.
I would.
That would be cooler than following the story of the game.
That would be a lot cooler. Yeah.
So the other option that still ties into this same kind of central theme of going back to Kanto is, if you've been on the internet much in your life, you've probably heard all the theory talk and conspiracies and stuff about the idea of a war in the Kanto region before the events of Red and Blue, and you have Lieutenant Surge when you battle him in his gym. He talks about fighting with his Pokemon in the war.
Yeah.
Whatever the quote-unquote the war means.
Which was probably just meant to be a throwaway line.
It definitely was meant to be a throwaway line, especially since it comes from Gen 1.
Yeah.
Where they weren't as careful about, what they put in, because they didn't know it was going to be a massive media franchise.
They didn't care about the deepest lore.
They didn't care about the deepest lore. But everyone has picked that apart. And that's another one, kind of like the Giovanni Team Rocket thing, that would really tie well into the grittier, realistic universe that they've created with Detective Pikachu. Where
it would also scar a whole bunch of children for life because they'd have to watch Pokemon die.
It sure would, but I mean, I feel like that's true. I guess you would maybe be hard pressed to get around Pokemon death in a war movie.
Yeah,
but
it would be a little upset. I would be a little upset if I had to watch a bunch of Pokemon die.
But I feel like we've passed that point, because there's a ton of stuff in Detective Pikachu that 5 years ago we would have said Pokemon will never let that happen. It's too upsetting for kids.
Okay, yeah. That's definitely
go see Detective Pikachu.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Okay, and then the last idea I have that was kind of just a little bit off the wall compared to the rest of these, but I think would maybe be pretty cool, is something from, especially the first two games in the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon franchise. Hear me out, out of anything that Pokemon has ever put out in video games, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, especially Rescue Team and Explorers, they've actually got a story, and
that's true.
Very heartwarming story.
That is a strong narrative.
And this is the one that I would say, like I've been talking about a couple of these, how I think they would work really well in the universe that Detective Pikachu is set up. This is the one that wouldn't work at all.
No,
like this would probably only work if it was an animated movie.
Yeah.
With the Pokemon all talking to each other.
It would be kind of inevitably, because there's no people in it.
Yeah, exactly. And they could, there's not going to be any people in The Lion King, and that doesn't stop them from making that live action.
That's technically not a live action movie.
but even if, this, huge success of Detective Pikachu, I think could potentially start an offshoot of these live action CGI movies, and it could also start another offshoot of animated movies. Those, they might stick to the Japan home grounds with those, as they always have with anime movies.
Yeah.
But even then,
might depend on how the Mario movie does.
That's true. But even then, how about just a little aside to the anime people? Give us a Pokemon Mystery Dungeon movie. I mean, you gave us the TV special, which was cool.
There were 3 of them, if you remember.
Yeah. Okay, TV specials.
There might have been 4.
Which, they were great. The one that was Explorers of Sky, where they fought with the Sableyes and stuff.
That one was really
it was so good. But just imagine that as a movie. And if it had the production quality of a movie, instead of, just your anime TV episode.
With the English voice actors doing whatever they can to do the silliest voices possible. Have you... Okay, I'm gonna...
Oh, no, I watched it recently. It's bad.
Perfectly...
Wait, I really am a human. I mean, I used to be a human. You really are weird. So what do you think of our place? So what do you think of our place? So what do you think of our place?
perfectly honest with you,
It's
I
amazingly
love it.
bad.
I love it. I love all those specials. But dear God,
It's amazingly bad.
The
No,
voices
it's
are
great.
just yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, not to get too off track with that, but maybe it's just my fanboy for early Mystery Dungeon games talking, but that would be fun.
I feel that too. We gotta be
Yeah.
realistic here. I mean, here's something to think about. Just like given all the American animation studios that are out there right now, are there really any ones that you would want to animate this movie?
How about the people who made the cutscenes for Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle? Get them to make the Mario movie instead of a. Have you seen those cutscenes? They're really good. They're
no, I haven't
really
seen
good.
it. Okay, well I believe it.
Get a little bigger budget behind that and make it an actual. So good.
Yeah. Okay.
But anyway, circling back to kind of tie this thing together. Not that we need to get off track with Mario movie talk right now. But yeah, I definitely think that the ones that are, I think out of all these ideas, and you know, we could spitball ideas and throw stuff at the wall all day, and you know, any Pokemon fan could. I really feel like it's the Mewtwo stuff and the Team Rocket stuff.
Yeah.
That's what sticks out to me personally.
Those two are real contenders.
Yeah. That's a very subtle Detective Pikachu reference.
Extremely.
If anyone hasn't
I don't
seen
even
it.
have to attach a spoiler warning.
Yeah. But what do you think, though? If you were going to pick between those two, like one that's more like very Mewtwo-centric, like maybe more along the lines of Mewtwo Strikes Back, similar to that maybe, or something that's more centered on Team Rocket / especially Giovanni, but it brings in the Mewtwo origin as like a moment.
Here's the thing. In Detective Pikachu, I'm thinking those have to be the same movie. And I say that because, like, you know how strongly Ash factors into Mewtwo Strikes Back? He's not here. So...
That's true, and I don't mean that Ash should be there, but I just mean something where... Because, you know, in Mewtwo Strikes Back, Giovanni isn't that big of a figure in the movie. He's just there in the first act to kind of set things up.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, like, a Mewtwo origin story with another kind of just protagonist, or this, you know, Giovanni-centered movie that... where instead of Mewtwo being the main character and Giovanni is kind of the Act 1 setup, it's more like Giovanni is the main character and Mewtwo is, you know, kind of the rising action and maybe even the culmination of the plot of the movie. I don't know. I would love to see a spotlight on Giovanni, just because we've already had a spotlight on Mewtwo.
Yeah.
Time and time again.
Yeah.
Through every possible avenue over the past 20 years.
Yeah.
Whereas Giovanni hasn't really gotten a lot.
That's true.
And I think he's a character that could thrive with a lot. So
yeah, for sure.
That would get my vote. But anyway, anyone listening on the other side, give us your opinions. Anything that you would, you know, put on your wish list for future Pokemon movies. I think it's safe to say that with the success we're seeing on the numbers with Detective Pikachu, there's probably going to be another one at least to come in the future. Sure. So let us know what you guys think about that. And yeah, with that, we're signing off.
Farewell.
See you next time from the Brothas.
The Brothas.